N11 Agreement to End a Tenancy. The N11 is an agreement to end the tenancy form approved by the Landlord and Tenant Board. This form must be completely and correctly filled out. The N11 is a form stating that the landlord and tenant both want to end a lease. It has to be signed by both landlord and tenant. If the landlord asks you to move out and sign an N11, make sure you read and understand the entire form before you sign it. If you would like to stay in the unit, you do not have to sign this form. If you and your landlord are in agreement to end the tenancy, however, the termination date of the tenancy can be any date. You and your landlord can sign an N11 form at any point of your tenancy, whether it is for a fixed term or month to month. When is the N11 used? Sometimes landlords and tenants are in a situation where termination is the best option. You can use an N11 form to end a lease earlier or to avoid giving the landlord 60 days notice in the case of a month-to-month tenancy. What does the agreement include? A valid agreement to end a tenancy must include your name and your landlord's name, the address of your rental unit, the date the tenancy will end, and signature of all parties. You should keep a copy of this agreement for your records once it is completed. Your landlord cannot require you to sign an N11 as a condition of agreeing to rent the unit. If an N11 is signed at the time you began your tenancy, the N11 is invalid and your landlord cannot rely upon it. There are narrow exceptions to this involving student tenants living in accommodation provided directly by a post-secondary institution and for tenants in a care home receiving rehabilitative or therapeutic services. An N11 is void if your consent to end the tenancy was not given voluntarily. For example, if you are tricked or coerced by your landlord to sign under duress, the Landlord and Tenant Board could deem an N11 agreement invalid. A signed N11 becomes void 30 days after the termination date if you have not moved out of the unit and the landlord has not filed an eviction application with the Landlord and Tenant Board. What happens if the tenant cannot move out on the agreed upon date? If you signed an N11 agreement and cannot move out by the date agreed upon, your landlord cannot force you out on the termination date. Instead, your landlord must apply to the Landlord and Tenant Board and obtain an eviction order that they must enforce through the local sheriff's office. Most of the time, the board issues these eviction orders without notice to the tenants. These are called ex parte orders. Once an ex parte order is issued, you have 10 days after the date the order was issued to file a motion with the Landlord and Tenant Board to stop the eviction. For more information about your housing rights, visit www.WRCLS.ca. You can also contact Waterloo Region Community Legal Services at www.wrcls.ca/web-contact or call us at 519-743-0254. You can also check out our YouTube channel for more videos.